The strange toy. Jace Rowan had repaired many strange things in his life. Broken drill bots, burnt-out mining suits, cracked pressure helmets. But he had never repaired anything that looked as innocent as a toy dragon. It was late evening on the mining station Orin 12, the kind of place where humans worked long hours, breathed recycled air, and drank coffee that tasted older than the station itself. Jace was closing his workshop for the night when he saw it. Something small sitting right in front of his door. He frowned. No sound. No footsteps. Just the quiet hum of the station's generators. He stepped closer. It was a toy. A dragon-shaped toy, but not like any toy he had seen before. Its metal body was smooth, glowing faintly with soft blue lines like tiny veins of light. Its wings were folded tight, and its round little eyes, dark glass, seemed almost alive. Someone had placed it carefully, not dropped, and there was a small crack along its side, as if it had taken a fall. Jace picked it up. It was heavier than he expected, like there was advanced tech inside. "Who leaves a toy here?" he muttered. He looked left, looked right. The hallway outside his shop was empty. But he felt something, a tingling at the back of his neck. The kind of feeling you get when someone is watching you. He turned fast. Nothing. "Okay, creepy," he whispered. He carried the toy inside, locked the door behind him, and put it under a bright lamp. His workshop was small but comfortable, filled with tools, wires, metal parts, and half-finished repairs. It smelled like hot metal and old grease. Jay sat down and studied the toy carefully. Unknown metal, unknown circuits, unknown design. Definitely not human-made. He tapped the dragon's side. A tiny spark of blue light flashed and disappeared. "Whoa. Okay, so you're not just cute, you're expensive," he said. He tried to search for model numbers or brand marks, but there were none. No scratches except the crack. No dirt. No fingerprints. It was almost like the toy had been cleaned before being left at his door. But by who? He connected a scanner to check the internal structure. The screen blinked and scanned the device. The results made him blink twice. Energy core, active. Material, unknown. Security lock, level Omega. Purpose, not found. Danger level, unknown. "Great," he sighed. "I've picked up a mystery bomb." He leaned back. This was too advanced for a normal child's toy. Not even alien vendors in the trade market sold anything like this. Then he noticed something else. Tiny claw marks on the toy's wings. Deep, curved scratches like something tried to grab it tightly. And the metal seemed burnt in one corner, as if exposed to very high heat. Okay, someone plays rough. Still, despite the damage, the toy looked handcrafted, almost precious. Too precious to be thrown away. Too precious to be forgotten. So why was it here? Jace scratched his head. He should probably throw it out. But his curiosity refused. He grabbed a small tool and gently opened the side panel near the crack. As soon as he touched the panel, the toy shivered. Actually shivered. Jace froze. Did you just move? The toy stayed still again. Maybe he imagined it. Maybe he needed sleep. He opened the panel fully. Inside, he saw a glowing core. Not like an engine core, but something softer like a heartbeat. Pulsing, faint, warm. Blue light spread through the inner circuits. Jace whispered, "What kind of toy needs a heartbeat?" Then, the lights in his workshop flickered. He stiffened. Outside, a shadow passed quickly across the hallway window. Big. Silent. Too silent. He felt eyes on him again. Heavy eyes. Watching. Waiting. He swallowed hard and tried to ignore the feeling. This station often had power issues. Yeah, that's all. Just power issues. He continued working, connecting the damaged wire inside the toy. As he touched the main circuit, the toy suddenly projected a small flicker of light, hologram static. Jace jumped. "Hey, what?" The hologram sharpened for less than a second. A small figure appeared. Tiny horns. A long tail. Wings not yet fully grown. A dragon child, glowing blue, looking scared, and reaching out. Then the hologram vanished. Jace's heart started racing. That was a real hologram. A real dragon kid. Why would that be inside a toy? He looked around the empty workshop, as if expecting someone to answer him. Nothing. Just the quiet buzz of lights. His mind spun. Dragons were real, yes. But rare. Powerful. Dangerous. and they never came near human stations. So how did a dragon child's hologram end up in his hands? Who placed this here? And why him? He checked the door's security cam. Dusty. Dead. Not working for weeks. Of course. He let out a frustrated sigh. Great. Perfect. Mystery toy delivered by ghosts. He sat again and held the dragon toy carefully. Someone had left this here for a reason. Someone wanted him to fix it. And whoever that someone was, they were probably watching him right now. As he reached for another tool, something scraped outside the workshop door. A low, deep sound, like claws on metal. Jace's breath caught. He whispered, "Who's out there?" But no answer came. Only silence. And the feeling that whatever left the toy wasn't human. The hidden eyes. The scraping sound outside Jace's workshop didn't stop. It dragged slowly across the metal floor, then disappeared, then came back again, as if something large was circling his door. Jace didn't move. He didn't even breathe. The toy dragon sat on his workbench, glowing faintly with its heartbeat-like core. The tiny crack he had opened earlier pulsed softly, almost warm. It felt like the little machine was alive and scared. "Easy, easy," Jace whispered, not sure if he was talking to himself or the toy. A soft thump hit the outside wall. Not loud, not angry, just heavy. Too heavy for a human. Jace reached for a metal tool. Nothing impressive, just a wrench, but it made him feel a tiny bit safer. He took one slow step toward the door. Then, thump, right above him, on the ceiling. He froze. No human could climb there. No maintenance bots patrolled that area. He stared straight up, expecting something to crash through the ceiling. But instead, he heard breathing. Slow, deep. Something big was above him. He whispered, "Oh, this is bad. This is very bad." The overhead ducts creaked as if something crawled away. Jace waited for silence, then rushed back to the workbench and grabbed the toy close to him. The toy pulsed again, stronger this time. And then, right in his hands, a small hologram flickered once more. This time, it stayed for 3 seconds. A dragon child, eyes wide with fear, reaching out, calling silently, begging. Then darkness again. Jace felt his heart twist. Whatever was watching him wasn't here to hurt the toy. It was here because of the toy, and maybe because of him. He scanned the toy again. The screen flashed a warning. Energy signal detected. Unknown presence nearby. Distance, 4 meters. Threat level high. Jace whispered, 4 meters? That's right outside. He forced himself to calm down. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a hero. He was a mechanic who fixed coffee machines and cargo doors. But somehow, he was in the middle of something far bigger. He placed the toy back on the bench and opened the rear panel gently. As he examined the inner circuits, he noticed something he hadn't seen before. Small, delicate scales stuck between the wires. Dragon scales. Real ones. He picked one up. It glimmered like liquid silver under the lamplight. Almost warm to the touch. "That's impossible," he breathed. Real dragons didn't go near humans. They lived in forbidden zones, deep in asteroid fields, far from human trade routes. Everyone knew that. And the only dragons anyone ever saw were the ones large enough to destroy starships. So why would a dragon child's toy be here? Why would it have real scales inside? He turned the scale in his hand. Then, a whisper. A real whisper right behind him. "Do not break it." Jay spun around so fast he fell backward into his chair. His eyes scanned the room. No one. Nothing. The workshop was empty. Too empty. He stood, heart pounding. Okay, I'm hearing things. That's great. Perfect. But then he saw it. In the far corner of the workshop, the shadows moved. Not shaking. Not flickering. Shifting. Forming into something large. Jay stepped back. His hand shook. The toy on the desk vibrated lightly, as if sensing danger. The shadow grew taller, wider, and something inside it breathed. 2 faint lights appeared, golden, glowing eyes slowly opening inside the darkness. Jace whispered no. No, no, no. The eyes blinked once. Everything in the workshop went silent. Then the lights overhead flickered again, and the shadow vanished completely, like it was never there at all. Jay stood frozen for a full minute. Finally, he forced himself to breathe again. He picked up the toy, now trembling slightly in his hands, and whispered, "Who's watching us?" The toy responded. Yes, responded. It emitted a soft, almost crying sound. A small chime, like a scared child calling out. Jace stared at it. "You're alive, aren't you?" Not fully, but somehow. He touched the cord gently. It pulsed again, but this time, it showed something on a scanner. Identity lock. Only Dragon Royal blood can fully activate. Primary user, Prince Hazar. Status, in danger. Jace's stomach dropped. Prince? A royal child? Oh no. No, that's bad. That's so bad. If a Dragon Royal child was missing, then the one watching him wasn't a thief, wasn't a smuggler, wasn't a killer. It was likely a parent, a dragon parent, an adult dragon, a royal dragon, a creature powerful enough to tear the station apart like paper. Jace whispered, "Okay, calm. Stay calm. You're only holding the most dangerous lost toy in the galaxy." He began repairing the internal wires again, hands shaking but moving fast. He didn't know who placed the toy there. He didn't know who watched him from the shadows. But one thing was now clear. Whatever big creature was following him, whatever climbed across his walls, whatever whispered in his empty room, it wasn't here to kill him. It was waiting for him to fix the toy, waiting for him to bring back its child. And that meant only one thing. He was no longer alone in the workshop. Something was inside the walls, watching every move, breathing softly, waiting for the toy to wake up. The secret inside the toy. Jace didn't sleep that night. How could he? Something huge had moved across his walls, whispered in his empty room, and vanished like smoke. And now, the dragon toy lying on his workbench glowed brighter than before. Its heartbeat like coursed slowly, growing warmer, stronger, and louder. Jace ran a hand through his messy hair. "Why me?" he muttered. "I repair coffee machines, not royal alien toys." The toy gave a soft pulse, almost like a response, as if telling him, "You're the only one left." He sighed and leaned forward again, tools in hand. The station outside was quiet, too quiet. No footsteps, no voices, not even the usual hum of night shift workers. Almost like something scared them all away. Jace steadied his breathing and opened the inner panel further. More tiny wires, more strange circuits that didn't belong in a toy. Then he saw it. A small crystal sphere hidden deep inside, glowing faintly purple. He touched it gently. Immediately, the room temperature dropped. His breath turned foggy. The lamps flickered wildly. And then, a hologram burst from the crystal. Not like the earlier one. This one was big, sharp, clear. A message. A little dragon child cried out again, but this time he wasn't alone. Behind him were tall cages, metal bars, cold floors. Alien smugglers shouting. Something grabbing the child's tail. The little dragon screamed in fear, glowing brighter, clearly trying to activate the toy, trying to call someone. Someone specific. And at the end of the hologram, the last image appeared. A giant blue-scaled dragon with golden eyes, roaring in rage. Jace recognized those eyes. They were the same ones he saw in his workshop shadows. Oh no, that's the parent. That's the one watching me. But the hologram wasn't over. The message shifted to something new. A map, coordinates, a star route. The toy wasn't just a comfort object. It was a tracking device for a royal dragon child. A royal dragon child who was kidnapped. Jace swallowed hard. This was no small problem. This was galaxy-level trouble. He studied the crystal again, trying to understand how it was damaged. The crack through the toy had also fractured part of the crystal. One wrong move, and the map would break forever. And the moment it broke, the parent watching him would know. Jace's hand shook as he brought the repairing tool close. Don't panic, please don't explode. The crystal glowed again, brighter, almost warning him. But before he could touch it, something thumped the outer door. Jace froze. Another thump, and another. Not scratching, not crawling, knocking. 3 slow, heavy knocks. Jace's legs felt like jelly. He put the tool down quietly and stepped toward the door. He didn't open it. He simply whispered, "Who's there?" A deep voice rumbled through the metal, vibrating the entire workshop. "Human. Open." Jace stumbled back, eyes wide, heart racing. That voice. He had heard it whisper earlier, but now it wasn't a whisper. It was full, powerful, dangerous. The presence on the other side waited. Jace didn't open the door. Instead, he said, I am working on it. I'm trying to fix the toy. It's just delicate. Silence followed. A long silence. Then, do not fail. The floor shook slightly as the presence shifted away. Jace dropped into his chair, shaking. Okay, breathe, just breathe. He forced himself back to work. If a royal dragon, the kind that could destroy ships with a single breath, was counting on him, he could not fail. He leaned closer to the toy and gently held the broken crystal sphere. All right, little guy, let's get this right. As his tools touched the crystal, the toy lit up again. Only this time, something new appeared. A tiny metal object hidden under the circuitry. Almost invisible. Jace pulled it out. It was a scale. A dragon scale. But larger than the others he found before. Thick, heavy, patterned. A royal crest was carved into it. Jace whispered, a crest? Why would a crest be inside a toy? Then he realized something. This wasn't a toy. Not at all. It was a beacon. A transmitter for the royal family. A way to call the king. Jace stared at the crest, dread filling his stomach. No, don't tell me. The moment he placed the crest on the desk, the lights in the workshop went out. Everything turned black. He couldn't see his hands. He couldn't see the toy. He couldn't see the door. But he could hear breathing. Deep. Right behind him. Jace slowly turned his head. In the darkness, two golden eyes opened. Large. Ancient. Powerful. A voice whispered close to his ear, but this time it wasn't calm. It was full of pain. Human, give me the crest. Jace's heart nearly stopped. The Dragon King wasn't outside the workshop anymore. He was inside. Inside the shadows. Inside the walls. Inside the darkness itself. Watching Jace fix the only thing that could lead him to his missing child. And now, he wanted the crest. The Dragon King's warning. Jace didn't move. Couldn't move. The workshop was pitch dark, the shadows thick and alive. Only two golden eyes glowed in the darkness. Massive, ancient, unblinking. The eyes of a Dragon King. His breath washed over Jace's neck, hot and heavy, like standing too close to a furnace. The smell of burning stone and lightning filled the air. Jace held the crest with shaking hands. He whispered, I didn't mean to find it. It was inside the toy. The Dragon King's voice cut through the darkness. That is not a toy. Jace swallowed hard. He had guessed that much. Something shifted in the shadows. A huge wing? A claw? He couldn't tell. But whatever moved was big enough to make the floor vibrate. The Dragon King stepped forward, still unseen, only felt. The darkness clung to him like a cloak. The golden eyes grew closer, burning brighter. Give it to me. Jace slowly extended the crest, hands trembling. Before he could fully lift it, a giant claw, larger than Jace's entire torso, emerged from the shadows. But the claw didn't grab Jace. It hovered over him, stopping just inches from touching the crest. Heat radiated from it like molten metal. The Dragon King growled low, dangerous. This crest belongs only to my bloodline. His voice was deep enough to shake tools off the shelves. Jace flinched at the noise, but kept holding the crest. But your child's toy had it inside, Jace said. Silence. A heavy, painful silence. The Dragon King's eyes lowered, glowing with something new, not anger. Sorrow. Deep, ancient sorrow. My child, he whispered, voice trembling for the first time, clung to that crest the last time I saw him. Jace's heart twisted. The massive claw closed, gently taking the crest from Jace's hands. When the king touched it, the crest glowed with bright fire, lighting up the workshop in warm orange light. Only now, for the first time, Jace saw him clearly. A giant dragon filled the entire back half of his workshop. Blue scales that shimmered like living ice. Wings folded tight, but still brushing the walls. A muscular tail coiled behind him. His horns curled back like dark blades. His chest glowed with faint fire. This wasn't just any dragon. This was royal and broken. His scales were cracked. Burn marks covered his wings. A deep scar tore across his shoulder. The Dragon King had fought his way through something terrible. His golden eyes settled on Jace. Human, listen. Jace didn't dare blink. The king lowered his head until his snout was inches from Jace's face. His breath was hot enough to make Jace sweat instantly. My child was taken by smugglers 3 cycles ago. 3 days. 3 days of a Dragon King searching the galaxy, tearing through star systems, chasing smoke. He continued, voice heavy. They lure rare species, they sell them to the highest bidder. A dragon child is worth a planet to such creatures. His claws dug into the metal floor, leaving deep scars. I tracked the scent to this sector, but I lost it again. He looked down at the repaired toy on the table. That beacon, he said softly, is the last thing my son held before they stole him away. Jace looked at the toy, no longer seeing it as a machine. It was a child's lifeline, a cry for help. The Dragon King's voice changed again, deeper and colder. And now you, human mechanic, hold my only hope. Jace's stomach dropped. The king leaned even closer, and the shadows bent with him. You found a crest. You awakened the toy. You saw the hologram. His golden eyes burned. This means you have seen my son's fear. Jace nodded slowly. Yes. He looked terrified. A low growl rumbled through the workshop, shaking the lights. The Dragon King's wings unfurled slightly, scraping the ceiling. I will tear this galaxy apart to bring him home. He looked down at Jace again. And you will help me. Jace blinked. Me? I'm not a soldier. I'm not. The king's claw slammed into the floor beside Jace, close enough to feel the heat, but not touching him. The metal shattered like glass. Human, the king growled. You repaired what no dragon could. You accessed what only your hands could open. You understood technology, even my elders cannot. His tail swished, knocking over half the workshop. You can fix the beacon. His voice softened. And only a calm human hand can do it. My claws would crush it. Jace stared at the Dragon King. This giant, powerful creature begging a human for help. He whispered, if the beacon leads us to your child, we need to repair it perfectly. The Dragon King's pupils narrowed. We, he repeated. Jace hesitated, then nodded. Yes, we. I'll help you find him. The king slowly lowered his massive head, eyes burning bright. For the first time, the Dragon King bowed, just slightly. A gesture of trust, of respect, of desperation. Then hear my warning, human. He leaned close, voice dropping into a deadly whisper. Fix the beacon, or I will burn this station to ash. Jace swallowed hard. Right. No pressure. The Dragon King's lips curled in something between a snarl and a smile. Begin. And with that, the Dragon King curled around the workshop like a living wall of scales and fire, protecting the human mechanic as he prepared to repair the most important item in the galaxy. The beacon's core started to glow. The hologram flickered to life. And somewhere far away, a dragon child cried out again. The truth of the kidnapping. Jace worked with shaking hands as the Dragon King watched from the shadows of the workshop. The giant creature had folded his wings, but even then, he filled half the room, his scales glowing with shifting blue fire. The broken beacon hummed softly on the table, its heartbeat like core pulsing faster now. The whole workshop felt alive, every tool trembling, every light flickering as if reacting to the dragon's presence. Jace whispered, Okay, let's find the truth. He touched the core with a stabilizer tool. Instantly, a blast of bright blue light filled the workshop. The beacon activated. A hologram flickered above it, far clearer, far stronger than before. Jay stepped back as images appeared all around him. At first, he saw darkness, cold metal floors, chains, the sound of someone crying, small, scare breaths. Then the picture sharpened. A tiny dragon child, Prince Hazar, locked inside a reinforced cage. His small wings were bruised. His little claws scratched desperately at the bars. He looked so tired, so frightened, so alone. Jace felt his chest tighten. He's just a kid, he whispered. The Dragon King lowered his massive head beside Jace, golden eyes locked onto the hologram. His breath trembled with fury. Show me more. The beacon obeyed. New images appeared. this time showing the kidnappers. Jace's blood ran cold. They weren't normal smugglers. They weren't even human. They were Karthik's hunters, a brutal species known for hunting rare creatures. Tall, armored, insect-like beings. Sharp mandibles. Dark chitin plates covering their bodies. Their glowing red eyes scanned cages filled with rare aliens like they were nothing more than merchandise. One of them lifted the dragon child's cage and hissed. A royal dragonling, worth more than 10 starships. The Dragon King's claws dug into the floor, cracking it apart. The air heated instantly. Jace felt sweat run down his back. But the hologram continued. A second Karthik stepped forward. This one wore a red crest, sign of a leader. He inspected Prince Hazar like some object. He hissed, "We will break him. Dragons obey us once their fire is taken." The Dragon King let out a deep, rumbling growl that shook every tool in the workshop. Jace had to grab the table to stay upright. He whispered, They torture rare species. They force obedience." The king spoke in a quiet, deadly voice. "I know what Karthiks do." His golden eyes glowed with fire. They strip a dragon's flame. They crush their will. They turn princes into pets. His entire body radiated fury, but he didn't breathe fire. He didn't roar. He just stared at the hologram with a pain so deep it made Jace's stomach twist. The beacon shifted again, showing the child's last moments with the toy. Prince Hazar hugged the dragon beacon tightly. He whispered something, his small voice trembling. The beacon translated, "Father, come find me. Please." The hologram froze there, on that desperate little face. Jace felt a lump in his throat. "Your son." He tried to activate the beacon himself, Jace said softly. The king lowered his head further, eyes dimming. Hazar is strong, brave. He fought them. The hologram changed again, this time showing the kidnapping itself. Jace and the king watched the horrible scene unfold. Prince Hazar hiding behind rocks on a small moon. Karthik's hunters closing in from every side. The prince trying to fly, but too young, too small. The hunters grabbed him. He screamed. The beacon fell from his claws. It cracked against the ground. The little dragon tried to crawl back to it, crying, "Father, father." The king roared so loud the workshop walls shook. Lights shattered. Metal shelves collapsed. Jace stumbled backward, covering his ears. Blue flames burst from the Dragon King's mouth. Pure rage turned to fire. But even through his fury, the king didn't harm the beacon. His fire swirled around Jace like a storm, but not a single spark touched him. The king finally forced himself still, his breath coming in hot, sharp bursts. Jace whispered, "They're monsters, absolute monsters." The Dragon King closed his eyes. "Those who take royal blood," he said slowly, "do not live to boast." The beacon suddenly flashed red. Jace blinked. What's that?" A warning appeared. Signal trace detected. Hunter ship near Orin, 12 sector. Estimated distance, 40 minutes. Jace's heart nearly stopped. "They're coming here." The Dragon King opened his golden eyes, now burning with pure fire. "Yes." Jace stepped back. "But why? Why come to this station?" The king answered with terrifying calm. "Because they tracked me." Jace froze. "You mean they know you are here?" The king nodded once, slow, deliberate. "And they want to kill you before you find your child." The dragon's voice deepened. "They want to end the royal bloodline." Jace felt the temperature drop, even though fire swirled around him. "Then we need to finish repairing the beacon fast." The king's wings unfolded halfway, brushing both walls. "Yes, human, finish the map. Now." Jace ran back to his tools, adrenaline rushing through him. As he worked, alarms sounded in the distance. The station detecting an incoming hostile ship. The Dragon King stood beside Jace like a living mountain, fire building in his chest. "Hurry," he growled, "before they reach my son, or reach you." The race against time. The warning sirens across Station Orin, 12 echoed like a dying heartbeat, rising and falling through the metal walls. Incoming hostile ship. Estimated arrival, 22 minutes. The Dragon King towered beside Jace, wings half unfolded, his scales glowing hotter with every passing second. The air shook around him, like the room was holding its breath, terrified to even exist near him. Jace wiped sweat from his forehead and leaned over the beacon again. We don't have time. We really don't have time. The beacon hissed, sparked, then glowed with unstable blue light. The map wasn't complete. Half the routes were missing. Half the signals flickered and glitched. Without the completed map, they would never locate the prince. The Dragon King's tail scraped the floor, carving deep grooves into the metal. Human, he growled softly, tell me it will work. His voice wasn't angry this time. It was desperate. Jace swallowed hard. It'll work if it doesn't melt first. The beacon pulsed red again, warning. Core failure, 38%. Signal trace, closing. The king leaned lower, his golden eyes inches from the beacon. Human, do not let die. Jace reached for a stabilizer coil, nearly dropping it from shaking hands. His fingers moved fast, almost blindly. One wrong wire, and everything would vanish. The map, the location, the last trace of a dragon child crying for help. The metal floor trembled under the Dragon King's weight. He was pacing huge, slow, burning steps that shook every bolt and tool in the workshop. Suddenly, boom, the entire station shuddered. Jace gasped. What was that? The king's pupils narrowed. Their weapons. They are testing the shields. The alarm repeated. Artillery impact detected. Station shields, 67%. Jace's voice cracked. They're firing already. The Dragon King's chest glowed with gathering fire. They want to weaken the shields to force me outside. Jace turned to him. Then stay in here. If they see you. The king cut him off. I do not hide. Another explosion rocked the station. The lights flickered. Sparks burst from an overhead panel. The beacon squealed with energy, its glowing heart beating faster, as if scared. Jace gritted his teeth. Hold together, buddy, just hold. He connected the new stabilizer. The beacon flashed bright blue, then showed a brief, incomplete star map. Routes, systems, dotted signals. Half working, half broken. The Dragon King lowered his head. That is my territory. He stared deeper. And that path, that one is forbidden space. Jace asked, You mean dangerous? The king snorted flames. I mean, even dragons do not go there. The beacon flickered, shifting map locations rapidly. Something was wrong. A soft alarm beeped. Enemy, signal locking on beacon. Location exposed. Jace's face drained of color. Oh no. No, no, no. The Dragon King's wings flared wide, filling the entire workshop. What have they done? Jace stammered. The beacon, it's not just receiving the signal. It's sending one too. They know exactly where this workshop is. Before the king could answer, boom, the floor shook violently. A huge blast hit the outer hull. Metal screamed. Alarms wailed. The station lights dimmed to blood-red emergency mode. Jace clung to the table. The announcement repeated, shaking the room. Hostile boarders detected. Deck 2, Deck 3, Deck 4. Advancing toward engine sector. Jace realized in horror. They were coming straight for them. The king growled, low and deadly. They want the beacon. And me? Jace asked. The Dragon King's eyes softened for a moment. They know you're helping me. They will not let any witness live. Jace felt ice in his veins. He whispered, then I need to finish the map before they reach this room. The Dragon King stepped in front of the door, blocking it entirely. His wings folded around Jace like a shield. You fix the beacon. I will handle the hunters. Jace's hands worked faster than ever. Tools clattered. The beacon glowed, dangerously hot. Circuits hissed as they fused. Then, bang, bang, bang. Someone pounded on the workshop door. Jace froze. The Dragon King's eyes narrowed to deadly slits. They are here. The banging turned into sharp, violent cutting sounds. Metal sparks sprayed from the door. The Karthik's hunters were slicing through. Jace's heart pounded. He turned back to the beacon. Come on, just a little more. Another explosion shook the entire hallway as the hunters fired their plasma drills. The door began to melt. The beacon flashed. Map rebuilding, 78%. Core stability, critical. Jace could barely see straight from fear, but he kept working. Another piece clicked into place. 79%, 80%, 83%. The metal door split open. Through the smoke, tall insect-like silhouettes stepped inside. Their red eyes glowed like evil stars. The Dragon King roared so loudly the entire station vibrated. He stepped between Jace and the hunters, wings out, fire building in his throat. The hunters raised energy rifles. Jace screamed, "King, look out!" The Dragon King unleashed a blast of blue fire, so powerful it shook every bolt in the walls, lighting the hunters like torches. Still, more shapes rushed through the smoke. Jace forced his shaking hands to keep working as chaos erupted behind him. He grabbed the final wire. The beacon core flared white-hot. A huge blast ripped through the workshop, throwing Jace backward. The Dragon King roared his son's name. Hazar. Then, silence. The beacon floated above the table, glowing with perfect clarity. A complete star map hovered in the air. Jace coughed, barely able to breathe. It's done, it's done. The Dragon King stared at the map, eyes trembling, voice shaking for the first time. Human, you found my child. The final activation. The workshop was ruined. Smoke drifted in the air. The walls were cracked. Half the lights hung, sparking from the ceiling. Scorch marks burned across the floor where Karthik's hunters had fallen. And in the center of it all, the beacon floated above the work table, glowing like a newborn star. A perfect holographic star map spun around it. Sharp lines, bright routes, and one red-marked location blinking in the void. The place where the Dragon Prince was kept. Jace lay on the floor, coughing, tried to push himself upright. His hands were burned from the explosion, but he didn't feel the pain. All he saw was the beacon's clear projection. He whispered, We made it. It's complete. The Dragon King stepped forward from the smoke, wings half spread, eyes locked on the floating map. His chest glowed with slow, deep fire. But this fire wasn't rage. It was hope. His massive head lowered close to Jace. Human, he said softly, softer than ever before. You have saved my son. Jace exhaled shakily. I just repaired a beacon. You're the one who... The king cut him off gently. You did what no dragon could. Have pride in that. Then he turned toward the map, eyes narrowing as he studied the blinking red signal. The signal wasn't random. It wasn't far. It wasn't hidden. It was moving. A transport ship. Fast. Armed. Leaving the sector. The king growled, flames curling around his fangs. They are running. Jace struggled to stand. How long until they're out of range? The beacon answered. Time left until trace loss. 14 minutes. Jace's heart dropped. That's all. We have 14 minutes before we lose him again. The Dragon King's wings snapped open with a thunderous crack. Then we will not waste a single second. He lowered himself to the floor, body coiled like a giant spring of living flame. Climb on. Jace blinked, stunned. WH what? Me, on you. The king growled impatiently. You carry the beacon. It responds to your touch. Without you, it will not guide me. Jace stared at the beacon, then at the giant dragon. Okay. Sure. No pressure. He grabbed the beacon, still warm, still pulsing, and climbed onto the king's back. The scales felt like solid, smooth stone radiating heat. He could feel the heartbeat of fire beneath them. The moment Jace settled between two massive ridges, the king unfurled his wings fully. They stretched wider than the workshop itself. Hold tight, human. Jace did. He grabbed onto the nearest spike like his life depended on it, because it did. The Dragon King took a single step. The workshop walls shattered around him. He burst through the station hull like a comet of living fire. The outside void. Space exploded into view, black, endless, glittering with stars. Fire trailed from the king's wings like twin comet tails. Jace clung to his back, windless, but shaking as the dragon accelerated faster than any human shuttle could even dream. The beacon vibrated in Jace's grip and projected the ship's coordinates. Jace yelled over the roaring, windless vacuum. There, that way. It's heading toward the dark rift. The king's voice thundered inside Jace's mind. I see it. He dove, Stars blurred. Light stretched. The void twisted around them. Jay swore he heard the station alarms still echoing far behind. Trace signal loss in 11 minutes. The king's speed increased again, his scales glowing white-hot. He didn't flap his wings. Dragons in space didn't fly with air. They flew with fire. The king's fire engine heart roared. They cut across the void like a blade. The hunter ship appears. Finally, through the shifting star map lines, Jay saw it. A large iron-black ship with Karthik's symbols carved into its hull. Sharp, ugly, like an insect floating in space. King, there! The Dragon King's roar shook Jace's bones. Hazar! Fire erupted from the king's mouth. A blazing spiral of blue-white flame slicing across the void toward the ship. The hunter ship dodged, engines blazing. They fired back, beams of red light cutting the darkness. The king spiraled, weaving through shots with impossible grace. Jace held on for dear life. Another blast of red energy flew toward them. The Dragon King didn't dodge this time. He took the hit. The explosion sent Jace flying sideways. He would have died instantly if the king hadn't snapped his wings around him mid-flight. Smoke curled from the king's scales. But he didn't slow down. Human, he growled. Open the ship's shield codes from the beacon. Jace panicked. I don't know how. The beacon glowed as if answering him. Lines of alien code appeared on its surface. A soft voice echoed. Prince authorization. Accepted. Jace blinked. He left codes inside the beacon. The kid did. The Dragon King's chest swelled with pride and sorrow. My son is clever. Jace pressed the beacon against the wind, letting the star map guide him. The beacon emitted a pulse. A blue wave shot across space. It hit the hunter's ship. Its shields dropped instantly. Jace yelled, now, go! The Dragon King unleashed a roar so powerful a ring of fire burst in every direction. He hurled himself toward the now exposed ship. One strike, one impact, one thunderous collision, and the entire hull cracked. He tore it open with his claws, ripping metal apart like paper. Inside, alarm screamed. Karthik's hunters scrambled. Jace climbed off the king's back and held the beacon high. It pulsed toward a corridor. There! He's close. The Dragon King smashed through the metal halls, ripping doors off hinges. Finally, they reached a dark containment room. A small figure lay inside a cage. Blue scales, tiny wings, a trembling tail. Father, the voice was small, weak. The Dragon King whispered, voice breaking. Hazar! He crushed the cage with a single gentle claw. The little prince crawled out and pressed himself into his father's chest, crying softly. Jace felt tears sting his own eyes. He had never seen something so powerful and so deeply tender. The Dragon King curled his wings around his child. Then he looked at Jace, really looked at him. Gratitude, pride, respect. Human, he said, your name will be carried in dragon fire. Forever. Jace froze. The beacon glowed beside him. The king bowed his head, a royal bow, toward a simple human mechanic. You did more than repair a beacon. You restored a dynasty. Outside, the hunter ship began to collapse. The Dragon King lifted his son, spread his wings, and said, come, human, let's leave this graveyard behind. As the ship exploded behind them, Jace climbed onto the Dragon King's back again, with the prince curled safely in his father's claws. And together, they flew into legend.